Hello everyone! I thought what I would do is take some time to talk about instructional design, a technique called backward design. Some of you are working on a new course from scratch and maybe you never developed an online class. I hope this will help because we're going to talk about some stages and techniques that will help you get through this process. What I really like about the backward design is that we begin with the end in mind. So what we'll be doing is we will identify desired results. Doesn't that sound like student learning outcomes? Well, that's exactly what it is. And then we determine acceptable evidence of learning. And the last but not least step is design the learning experiences and instruction. So let me give you an example. Let's look at each stage. First of all, what do you want students to be able to do, be, or know? That's how we have framed it with our student learning outcomes. Then, what understandings about the key ideas should the students leave with? And if we have content standards, what are those learning goals? What should the students know and be able to do with that content that's being targeted? And what big ideas should anchor and organize that content and maybe be framed as the essential questions? The next stage is to help determine the acceptable evidence of learning. So we want to ask ourselves what evidence must be collected and assessed, and what is the evidence of understanding? What important transfer tasks should anchor the assessment, since the transfer is the essence of understanding, and what criteria should be used to assess the work related to the desired results? Stage 3 is the last stage, designing the learning experiences. What can I do to make the work engaging and effective? What content should we cover? When should the basics come first? When should I teach, coach, or facilitate student discovery? And how do I know who and where the learners are in the learning process? This can be the most engaging course development and creative experience you might have while developing courses, whether it's face-to-face or online, because what's really important here is matching the student learning objectives with the right tool or activity. This can be done in a variety of ways. We can consider the tools within the course management system that we happen to be using. We can also consider additional activities that are outside of the course management system. We talk many times about authentic learning experiences and assessments. Those types of activities can be considered offline, having your students experience. One of the good examples that I like to share is if you were teaching math, basic math, advanced math, one of the things that you could share with students is not only how to do the practical step-by-step mathematical equations, you could take them beyond that to share with them what it would be like to be a mathematician. What types of activities would they do, be, or know to be able to work in that field? The same with history. What does a historian do? How could you provide an experience to those students with those types of learning activities to help them realize what it is? How are they going to apply what they're learning? Anyway, we're going to have some fun with it as we continue to develop our courses. I have planned a weekly module template for you. I have modified this from what I've done in the past. This is a more simplified form. This is where the planning is so important. As you take a look at each module, whether it's broken down week, topic, or unit, you want to plan ahead, because then if you have your overall statements in place, you have your learning objectives, how you're going to achieve those learning objectives, then it becomes a very clear path and direction for your students. If you'd like to find out more about backward design, check out the Cal Poly Pomona Backward Course Design Kit. A lot of the information and some of the forms that I'm using in our class are based on this course design kit. Thank you for your attention.